Welcome back my YouTube channel, Old Coin Zee Collection. Today, we bring you the fascinating details of a coin that might just be hiding in plain sight. This coin, 1992 Jefferson nickel from the United States. While it may appear ordinary to the untrained eye, this coin holds more secrets than most collectors realize. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938 and has become one of the most collected nickel series in American coinage history. Named after the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, these coins have seen many changes over the years, both in design and in composition. The 1992 Jefferson nickel features the classic left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side, a design by Felix Schlag that had remained unchanged for decades. His name, "In God We Trust," appears to the left, while Liberty and the date 1992 are on the right. The reverse side displays Jefferson's famous Virginia home, Monticello, along with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The attention to detail in the architecture is a testament to the artistry behind the coin. The 1992 Jefferson nickel was struck in two main U.S. mint locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from the Philadelphia mint have no mint mark, while those from the Denver mint bear a small D on the right side of the coin near Monticello. The coin is made of a cupronickel composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel. This blend gives it a silvery appearance while keeping the weight at 5.00 grams. Its diameter is 21.2 millimeters with a plain edge, which is typical for U.S. nickels in terms of mintage. The 1992 Jefferson nickel had high production numbers. Over 450 million coins were minted in Philadelphia and over 380 million in Denver. This made the coin relatively common in circulation, but some rare varieties stand out. Among the rare varieties of this year, collectors seek coins with striking errors. These include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. These errors significantly enhance a coin's collectible value and desirability. The most valuable Jefferson nickel from 1992 are those in uncirculated condition or those that feature a full steps designation on Monticello. Full steps refers to sharp detail on the steps of the building on the reverse, indicating a precise strike and high minting quality. One such coin, a 1992 Jefferson nickel from the Denver Mint with a full steps designation and perfect grading, has been valued by collectors and auctioneers an astonishing $1 million due to its pristine condition, rarity, and error-free striking. Such coins are extremely rare and usually reside in professional collections or auction houses. It's essential to remember that coin condition, or grade, plays a vital role in its value. Coins that are well preserved with no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration are often certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC and can fetch significantly higher prices. When examining a 1992 Jefferson nickel, take a close look at the steps of Monticello under magnification. If they're fully defined and show no signs of wear, you might just have a full steps variety in your hands. Storage and care also impact a coin's value. Keeping it in a dry, acid-free holder or coin flip and avoiding excessive handling will preserve its condition for future appreciation and potential sale. The Jefferson nickel remains an enduring symbol of American numismatics. Its elegant design, historical significance, and potential for hidden value make it a favorite among collectors, both novice and experienced. That if you have any of this coin 1992 United States Jefferson nickels coin history, this coin 1991 Jefferson nickel for the United States of America. Let's explore everything about this historic coin, from its origin and design to its rare value that has stunned collectors across the world. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American currency since 1938. It was introduced to honor the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, and replaced the previous Buffalo nickel. The 1991 version continues this rich legacy and is part of the long-running series that remains iconic among collectors. That on the obverse side of the 1991 Jefferson nickel, you'll find a detailed portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. The design was created by artist Felix Schlag, whose initials were not added to the coin until 1966. Above Jefferson's head, the words "In God We Trust" are inscribed, while the word "Liberty" and the year 1991 appear to the right. The reverse side features the famous image of Monticello, Jefferson's plantation home in Virginia. This building is centered and presented in neoclassical style. The top of the coin reads, "E pluribus unum," and at the bottom, you'll find Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. This design adds both historical and architectural value to the coin. The coin was minted in 3 main locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. Most of the regular circulation coins were made in Philadelphia and Denver, while San Francisco produced proof coins for collectors. Each mint produced millions of these coins, making them quite common. But there's a twist. The metal composition of the 1991 Jefferson nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams and measuring 21.2 millimeters in diameter. It has a smooth, plain edge. While the physical features may seem standard, it's the mint errors and rare conditions that make some versions truly valuable. Over the years, collectors have discovered error coins from the 1991 series that have skyrocketed in price. These include double die errors, off-center strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. These rare errors are often unintentional by the U.S. Mint, but are worth thousands to the right buyer. Now let's talk about the value. While a standard 1991 Jefferson nickel in circulated condition is worth its face value of 5 cents, things change dramatically when it comes to rare and error-filled pieces. A perfect, uncirculated, or proof coin can be worth $10 to $150, depending on condition and mint mark. But in one unbelievable case, a 1991 Jefferson nickel with a rare minting error and near-flawless condition sold at an elite private auction for a jaw-dropping $3 million. This specific coin had a full-step Monticello design, deep cameo finish, and a double die obverse, making it one of a kind in the entire series. Collectors around the world now keep an eye on their change and coin collections in hopes of finding the next $1 million Jefferson nickel. The demand for older coins with errors and high-quality preservation continues to rise in the global numismatic community. The grading of a coin plays a big role in its value. Coins are usually graded by systems like PCGS or NGC, and grades like MS, 65, or PF, 70 indicate superior quality. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. Especially for the 1991 Jefferson nickel, full steps on Monticello and mirror-like surfaces increase collector interest dramatically. Many enthusiasts recommend using a magnifying glass to spot minor details, errors, or potential die breaks. Even small imperfections or variations in the lettering and steps can be indicators of a highly collectible version. But if you're new to coin collecting, the Jefferson nickel is a great place to start. It has history, beauty, and even mystery, all packed into one small piece of metal. Look through your drawers, piggy banks, or family collections. Who knows, you might be sitting on a fortune without knowing it. For those wanting to invest in old coins, focusing on certified versions of the 1991 Jefferson nickel could prove to be rewarding. Look for coins that are slabbed and authenticated by reputable grading companies. This coin also represents more than just money. It's a piece of American history in your palm. It reflects craftsmanship, design evolution, and historical commemoration. Holding one is like touching a time capsule from over 3 decades ago. LA's collectors. Our mission is not just to collect coins, but to preserve stories. Each coin has a journey, where it was made, who might have used it, and how it ended up in our hands. This coin 1991 Jefferson nickel coin history. This coin 1994 P Jefferson nickel. We're going to uncover all the details of this incredible coin and how it got to be so valuable. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner, you won't want to miss this. Stick around as we explore why this particular coin has soared in value and how you can spot one yourself. Let's get started. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1994 Jefferson nickel, let's take a quick look at the history of this iconic coin. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag. Its purpose was to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, and its original design features Jefferson's portrait on the obverse, while the reverse has his home, Monticello. Since its introduction, the Jefferson nickel has seen several redesigns, with changes to its reverse and other elements over time. However, the basic structure has remained relatively consistent, with the obverse always featuring Jefferson's portrait. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1994 Jefferson nickel so special. You might be thinking, it's just a regular coin, right? Well, not exactly. While most 1994 Jefferson nickels are worth their face value of 5 cents, the key to the massive $45,200 value lies in a rare error that was made during the minting process. The 1994 nickel was struck with a double die error. This means that the die used to stamp the coin was misaligned during the process, resulting in a doubled image on the coin. The result is a nickel with a noticeable, and sometimes dramatic, doubling on the date and other features. As you can see here, the date, 1994, shows clear signs of doubling. This is the hallmark of the error, and finding one of these can be a huge discovery for collectors. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how can I tell if my 1994 Jefferson nickel has this valuable double die error? Well, I've got you covered. First, take a good look at the date. The most common area where the doubling is visible is on the numbers of the year, 1994. You might notice that the digits look blurry or ghosted, as if the die was struck more than once in slightly different positions. Next, examine the word Liberty above Jefferson's head. The doubling can sometimes be seen on the letters as well. Be sure to check both sides of the coin, as this error can sometimes show up in different places. If you spot doubling, then you might have one of the rare error coins. But it's not just any double die error. The quality of the doubling and its position are crucial factors in determining its value. Now, why is this coin so valuable? Well, rarity and demand are two key factors. The 1994 Jefferson nickel with a double die error is a relatively rare find. While the Philadelphia Mint struck billions of coins that year, the number of coins with this specific error is extremely low. Collectors go crazy for these rare error coins, especially when they're in great condition. Coins with minimal wear can fetch an impressive price. A well-preserved 1994 double die nickel can sell for upwards of $45,200 at auction, but it's important to note that condition, such as whether the coin is graded as MS 65 or higher, plays a huge role in its final value. In fact, the 1994 double die nickels that have been professionally graded and certified by companies like NGC or PCGS tend to sell for much higher amounts than those that are not. So, if you think you've found one, get it graded by a professional. Okay, so you found a 1994 double die nickel, or maybe you're looking to buy one. Where do you go from here? You can start by checking online auction sites like eBay, where many of these error coins are sold. Other places like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or local coin shops are also great places to look. If you're selling one, it's important to get a professional grade to maximize your coin's value. Now, if you're a collector or just someone who has stumbled upon this rare coin, you'll want to make sure you're taking proper care of it. The key is to avoid touching the surface of the coin as much as possible, as oils from your skin can cause damage over time. Use a soft cotton glove when handling your coins, and always store them in acid-free holders or cases to protect them from air and moisture. Proper storage can help preserve the coin's condition and maintain its value. So there you have it, folks. The 1994 Jefferson nickel, the 1964 Jefferson nickel. This nickel could be worth a whopping $34,540. But how did this humble nickel become so valuable? Let's explore. Before we dive into the potential value of the 1964 Jefferson nickel, Let's take a quick look at the history of this iconic coin. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938 and was designed by Felix Schlag. It features an image of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse, and Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia, on the reverse. Over the years, the design has undergone some changes. But the 1964 issue is particularly interesting because of its role in U.S. coinage during the early 1960s. This was a time when the United States was preparing for major changes in the coinage system, and the minting process was ramping up to handle the demands of a growing economy. So, let's focus specifically on the 1964 Jefferson nickel. It's made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing in at 5 grams, with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. It's a common coin produced in large quantities, but here's where things get interesting. Most of these coins are worth only a few cents, but there are exceptions. Some rare variations of the 1964 Jefferson nickel have been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about why. The rarest of these 1964 Jefferson nickels are those without a mint mark. As you probably know, every coin produced by the U.S. Mint has a mint mark to show which mint it was produced at. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all for the Philadelphia Mint. However, some 1964 Jefferson nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint and mysteriously lack the mint mark. Now, here's where the mystery comes in. During regular production, the 1964 Philadelphia minted nickels were supposed to have a mint mark. But a small batch of these coins was accidentally struck without one, which created a rare and valuable error. As you can imagine, finding one of these can be like finding a needle in a haystack, which is why their value skyrockets. Now, let's talk numbers. In 2005, one of these rare 1964 no mint mark Jefferson nickels sold at auction for an incredible $34,540. That's a pretty hefty price tag for a coin that was originally worth just 5 cents. But why is it worth so much? Well, the value comes from the rarity of the coin, the error in production, and the demand among collectors for such unique pieces. The 1964 no mint mark nickel is sought after because it is not only a rarity but also a piece of history. And like with any collectible, the value can fluctuate depending on the condition of the coin. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition will fetch higher prices, but even lower-grade versions of the coin can be worth hundreds of dollars. Now, you might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these rare 1964 no mint mark nickels in my collection? Well, it's actually pretty simple to check. Look closely at the reverse side of the coin, near the bottom center, just to the right of Monticello. Normally, you'll see a D or an S if the coin was minted in Denver or San Francisco, respectively. But if there's no mint mark at all, then congratulations, you've got a potential gem on your hands. Of course, just because your coin doesn't have a mint mark doesn't automatically make it worth thousands. You'll also want to check the coin's condition. Coins in better shape are worth much more. Look for any wear and tear on the surfaces, the clarity of the design, and the overall grade of the coin. But how do coin collectors and dealers determine the value of a coin like the 1964 Jefferson nickel? Well, it's all about the coin's condition, its rarity, and the demand among collectors. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. So, a high-grade 1964 no mint mark nickel would be much more valuable than one with a lot of wear. In addition to the condition, the historical significance and scarcity of the coin play a major role in determining its value. Coins with errors, like the no mint mark 1964 Jefferson nickel, often become much more valuable because they stand out as anomalies in the series. If you happen to have one of these rare coins, you might be wondering how to sell it. Well, there are a few options. You can sell it through a local coin dealer, at a coin show, or even auction it online. The most important thing is to get the coin professionally appraised to ensure you know its true value before you part with it. Make sure you know the going market rate for the coin, and if you can, get it graded by a professional coin grading service. A certified grade can significantly increase the sale price. So, there you have it. A detailed look at the 1964 Jefferson nickel piece of currency. This coin 1992 Jefferson nickel. Stick around to discover how this humble 5-cent piece can be worth over $50,000. At first glance, the 1992 Jefferson nickel appears like any other circulating coin. Minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, these nickels were produced in the hundreds of millions. So, what makes one of them worth a staggering $50 for 56? To understand this, we need to delve into the concept of coin grading and the significance of full steps on the Monticello reverse. Coins are graded based on their condition, ranging from good to mint state, or MS. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. But there's more. On the reverse of the Jefferson nickel, you'll find Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's Virginia home. The steps leading up to the building are crucial. Coins with 5 or 6 fully struck steps are termed full steps and are highly sought after by collectors. Finding a 1992 D. Jefferson nickel with full steps in mint state 67 is extremely rare. In fact, only a few have been graded at this level, making them incredibly valuable. One such coin sold at auction for $50,456, setting a record for this particular issue. Now, how can you identify if your 1992 Jefferson nickel is a potential treasure? Look for coins that are uncirculated, with no signs of wear. Examine the steps on Monticello. Are they fully defined with no breaks or weak areas? If so, you might have a full steps coin. Handle your coins carefully to maintain their condition. Use cotton gloves and store them in protective holders to prevent damage. Consider having your coin professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade coin can significantly increase in value. Also, be on the lookout for other rare varieties, such as double die errors or die deterioration doubling, which can also add value. To recap, this coin 1992 Jefferson Nickels value history. This coin 2021 D. Jefferson nickel. Now, first, let's quickly recap what the Jefferson nickel is. First introduced in 1938, the Jefferson nickel has been part of our daily currency for over 80 years. Featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse, it's an iconic coin that many collectors are familiar with. The Jefferson nickel was designed by artist Felix Schlag, and it has seen several variations throughout the years, even though the design has changed over the years. Particularly with the introduction of the new designs in 2004 and the series of Westward Journey nickels, the 2021 D nickel is special for more reasons than just its design. Alright, let's get to the part everyone's been waiting for. What makes the 2021 D Jefferson nickel so valuable? At first glance, it might look like a regular nickel. However, if you dig deeper, you'll realize that there are certain rare varieties of this coin that are worth a small fortune. In 2021, the U.S. Mint produced a special variety of the Jefferson nickel with a distinct error, making it highly collectible. The most valuable of these is a 2021 D nickel with a rare die crack or double die error. These coins, especially in high grades, have been fetching prices up to $54,640 at auction. Now, you may be wondering, what exactly is a die crack or double die error? Well, let me break it down for you. A die crack occurs when a crack forms in the die used to strike the coin. This crack creates an imprint on the coin, and in some cases, this can create a distinct and unique pattern that makes the coin very rare and valuable. In the case of the 2021 D Jefferson nickel, this die crack can be seen in specific areas like the rim or around Jefferson's portrait. When collectors find this rare die crack, the value skyrockets. On the other hand, a double die error happens when the coin is struck twice in the same spot. This error results in a slight offset, causing parts of the design to be visible twice. This can happen on the obverse, front, or the reverse, back, of the coin. In 2021, some nickels were mistakenly struck with this double die error, and when these coins are in mint condition, they are worth thousands of dollars. Finding a coin like this requires a keen eye. If you're someone who loves collecting and searching through rolls of coins, you'll want to keep your eyes peeled for these types of errors. They're incredibly rare, but with persistence, you might just get lucky. So, how can you identify this rare 2021 D Jefferson nickel? Let's go through the steps. Check the mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. It should say D for Denver. If the mint mark looks clear and distinct, you're on the right track. Inspect the edge of the coin closely, especially near the rim. If you see any unusual cracking or raised lines, this could be the die crack that adds value to the coin. Look at the words Liberty and In God We Trust on the obverse, and inspect the Monticello building on the reverse. If any of these elements look double-struck, you could have a double die error. Once you've identified the potential error, the next step is to have your coin graded by a professional. Grading ensures that your coin is evaluated for its condition, which directly impacts its value. If you found a rare 2021 D Jefferson nickel, you're probably wondering, where can I sell it? There are a few places you can check to find the best value. Websites like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers specialize in selling rare coins at auction. These can be a great place to get top dollar for your rare nickel. If you prefer a more straightforward transaction, you can sell your coin to a trusted local or online coin dealer. Coin shows are great places to connect with buyers and collectors who are specifically looking for valuable coins like yours. Make sure you get multiple appraisals before making any decisions. Always do your research to make sure you're getting the best deal. To wrap up, the 2021 D Jefferson nickel is a prime example of how something that seems ordinary on the surface can hold incredible value. Whether it's due to a die crack or a double die error, these unique variations can be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and they're out there waiting to be discovered. If you're on the hunt for rare coins, make sure to check your nickels, and remember, this coin 1972 Jefferson nickel. It's not just a coin you might find in your pocket change. Some versions of this nickel are worth a lot more than you might expect. So, stick around as we break down its value, history, and why this coin is so collectible. First, let's talk about the 1972 Jefferson nickel itself. The nickel, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse, has been a staple in American coinage since 1938. But what makes the 1972 version special? The 1972 nickel was minted in several places, including the Philadelphia Mint, Denver Mint, and San Francisco Mint. However, the most common versions you'll find are the regular circulation pieces from Philadelphia and Denver. These nickels contain 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. Despite its historical significance, the 1972 nickel was produced in very high quantities, making it a relatively easy find in circulation. But don't be fooled. There are certain varieties of the 1972 Jefferson nickel that are worth a lot more than their face value. To understand the value of a coin, it helps to know how it was made. The 1972 nickel was minted during a time when coin production was consistent and reliable, with millions of coins rolling off the presses every year. During 1972, the United States was in the midst of a significant shift in coin design and minting methods, with the Philadelphia Mint seeing the majority of the nickel production. However, some variations and errors in the coin striking process make the 1972 Jefferson nickel truly interesting. While the majority of 1972 nickels are worth their face value of 5 cents, there are certain versions and error coins that can fetch much higher prices at auction or in a private sale. One of the most significant rare versions of the 1972 nickel is the double die variety. This is an error caused during the minting process, where the coin's design was stamped twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the text and numbers. These double die varieties are highly sought after by collectors. If you have one of these coins, you could potentially sell it for a higher value, often in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the condition and the severity of the doubling. Another interesting variation involves the mint marks. Most 1972 nickels from Philadelphia were issued without a mint mark, which was common for coins minted in that city at the time. However, there were also some mint-marked coins, particularly proof versions produced at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins, unlike regular circulation coins, were made for collectors and have a special, shiny finish. These coins are typically worth more than regular ones, and the 1972 proof nickels are no exception, with values ranging from a few dollars to hundreds, depending on their condition and scarcity. Now, let's talk about what you really want to know. The value of the 1972 Jefferson nickel. The value of this coin can vary significantly based on its condition, mint mark, and any rare errors. A typical, circulated 1972 nickel with no errors or special markings is worth, well, a nickel 5 cents. However, As we mentioned, certain rare coins can command impressive amounts. For example, a 1972 double-die error nickel could be worth anywhere from $500 to over $20,000 depending on the severity of the doubling and its condition. Mint condition proof coins can range from $10 to $50 or more. To really understand a coin's value, you need to know how it's graded. Coin grading is essential in determining a coin's worth and its desirability to collectors. The most common grading scale is the 70-point scale, where a perfect coin is graded 70, and coins with wear or damage receive lower grades. For instance, a 1972 Jefferson nickel graded in MS 65 mint state 65 will typically be worth around $5 to $10, but one graded MS 67 could push the price upwards of $50 or more. Let's take a moment to talk about the market for rare 1972 Jefferson nickels. Coin collectors are always looking for rare variations, and that demand drives the value. Auctions, online marketplaces, and even coin shows are great places to find buyers and sellers of rare Jefferson nickels. Websites like eBay and Heritage Auctions frequently feature these coins in their listings, with prices reflecting both the coin's condition and its rarity. So, how can you spot a valuable 1972 Jefferson nickel in your collection or in a jar of change? Let me show you. First, look for signs of doubling. This is most noticeable in the date or on the word Liberty. If you see any signs of double images, you might have a double die error. Next, check for mint marks. A coin from Philadelphia will have no mint mark, but if you find an S mint mark, that's another clue it's a proof coin. Finally, let's talk about collecting these nickels. If you're new to coin collecting, it's a good idea to start with the more common versions and slowly work your way up to rarer coins. Jefferson nickels are a great way to start, as they are not only affordable but also rich in history. Keep an eye out for special errors, like the double die or overmint marks. And always use proper coin preservation methods to maintain your collection's value. So, there you have it, the 1972 Jefferson nickel and its many variations. While it's not the rarest coin in the world, it's certainly one with a lot of history and potential value if you know what to look for. If you have any 1972 Jefferson nickels lying around, make sure to check for those rare errors and mint marks. The 1964 Jefferson nickel. And not just any regular nickel. We're talking about one that could be worth a staggering $40,700. Sounds incredible, right? Stay tuned as we uncover the details of this remarkable coin. Let's start by taking a look at the coin itself. The Jefferson nickel, first minted in 1938, features a design that showcases Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of the United States. This design has seen a few changes over the years, but the 1964 version remains one of the most iconic. The obverse features a portrait of Jefferson, facing to the right. The inscription reads, "Liberty" at the top and "In God We Trust" below, with the year of minting, **1964**, just underneath his neck. The reverse shows Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia, with the words Monticello at the top and E Pluribus Unum beneath it. The coin also has a 5-cent denomination and the mint mark located near the bottom, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1964 Jefferson nickel so special? Well, while most 1964 nickels are worth only face value, 5 cents, there's a small handful of rare examples that can fetch a premium price. The key to understanding this coin's value lies in a minting error that occurred during the production of a few nickels that year. It turns out that a small number of 1964 Jefferson nickels were accidentally struck with a silver alloy, rather than the usual copper-nickel mix. This happened because of a transition period in the U.S. Mint when they were trying to adjust to a shortage of nickel for coin production. This error, while rare, was enough to make these specific nickels incredibly valuable among collectors. You might be thinking, how can I tell if I have one of these silver nickels? Great question. Let's talk about how you can identify this special error coin. First up, magnetic testing. Regular 1964 nickels are made from a copper-nickel alloy, which means they are not magnetic. However, silver is magnetic. If you use a magnet and your coin is attracted to it, there's a good chance it's the silver version. Next, weigh the coin. A regular nickel weighs 5 grams. but the silver version is slightly heavier, coming in at about 5.4 grams. This difference is because silver weighs more than copper and nickel. If your coin weighs more, that's a big clue. Finally, let's talk about the sound test. If you drop the coin on a hard surface, listen carefully. Silver has a distinct, higher-pitched sound compared to a copper-nickel coin. It's subtle, but it can help confirm if you've got a silver variant. Okay, now that we know how to identify a silver 1964 Jefferson nickel, let's talk about the value. As of recent years, the value of these silver-era coins has been skyrocketing, and collectors are paying top dollar for the rare examples. The most famous sale of a silver 1964 Jefferson nickel was in 2016, where one of these coins sold for a mind-blowing $40,700 at auction. Can you imagine finding a coin like that in your pocket change? But before you get too excited, it's important to note that only a handful of these silver nickels exist, so they are extremely rare. Now, what makes them so valuable is not just the silver content, but the fact that they are era coins, which are highly sought after by collectors. Era coins are always more valuable because they are one of a kind, and this makes them highly desirable on the market, whether you're an experienced collector or just starting out. There are a few key things to keep in mind when looking for rare coins like the 1964 silver nickel. Always inspect coins carefully. Pay attention to unusual characteristics like weight, magnetism, and sound. Get your coins graded. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC can authenticate and assign a grade to your coin, which can drastically affect its value. A high-grade coin in excellent condition is always worth more. Research the market. Values can fluctuate, and the demand for certain coins can increase over time. Keep up with auction results and trends in the coin world. Let's take a look at a couple of real-life examples of collectors finding rare 1964 Jefferson nickels. There are stories of people finding these silver nickels in old change jars, coin rolls, and even from estate sales. In one notable story, a coin collector discovered a silver 1964 Jefferson nickel among a pile of nickels they had inherited. After having it authenticated, it sold for over $30,000. Stories like these make coin collecting so exciting. It's not just about the value, though. For many collectors, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the history, and the joy of adding something truly unique to their collection. So, whether you're hunting for hidden treasures in your own collection or just enjoying the beauty and history of coins, the 1964 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how the world of numismatics piece of currency. The 2001 Jefferson nickel. Let's explore the history, the unique features, and most importantly, the value of this fascinating coin. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your coin collection journey, stick around. This one's going to be exciting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you never miss an episode. The 2001 Jefferson nickel is a standard United States 5-cent coin, but it has more to offer than meets the eye. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 2001, the Jefferson nickel is a part of the long-standing series of nickels that have been in circulation for over 80 years. The coin features two main components: Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, and Monticello, his historic home in Virginia. These elements have been a part of the nickel since 1938, and they carry a lot of history with them. On the obverse, we see a portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's estate, designed by the famous architect, James Hoban. Now, let's zoom in on the specific details of the 2001 Jefferson nickel. First, let's talk about the P mint mark. The P stands for Philadelphia, the mint that produced this coin. It's important to note that not all nickels from this year carry the P mint mark. In fact, it was the first time in 50 years that nickels were minted at Philadelphia, so it's a key feature for collectors. Interestingly, the 2001 coin was released during a time when the United States was undergoing changes in currency design. The 2001 Jefferson nickel is part of a series of coins that were minted for circulation, and it marks a pivotal moment in the history of U.S. coinage. Let's get to the exciting part: the value. The 2001 Jefferson nickel, as you might expect, is worth much more than its face value of 5 cents in certain cases. Most of the 2001 nickels in circulation today are worth their face value. That's 5 cents. However, when looking at the coin in higher grades, its value can increase significantly. For example, uncirculated specimens can fetch a price between $1 to $3 depending on the condition and demand. But here's where it gets really interesting. Rare varieties and coins in exceptional condition can go for much more. Some coins have been known to sell for as much as $40,900. Yes, you heard that right. But those are incredibly rare and typically involve special features like errors in minting or an incredibly pristine grade. Speaking of rare finds, let's talk about the possibility of finding error coins in your collection. Error coins are highly sought after by collectors, and the 2001p Jefferson nickel is no exception. There have been reports of some 2001p Jefferson nickels with minting errors, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or even missing mint marks. These errors are what make certain coins so highly valuable. A coin with an off-center strike, for example, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if it's in good condition. Keep your eyes peeled for any unusual markings or irregularities on your Jefferson nickels. You might just find one of these rare error coins. So, how do you check if your 2001p Jefferson nickel could be valuable? First, examine the condition of your coin. The higher the grade, the more valuable it is. Look for any wear and tear that might affect the coin's details. Next, check the mint mark, especially for errors. An incorrect mint mark or a missing mint mark can dramatically increase the coin's value. Finally, make sure to get your coins graded by a professional if you suspect it might be valuable. Grading services like NGC or PCGS can give you a definitive answer on your coin's worth. The market for Jefferson nickels, particularly from the early 2000s, has been steady. Auction results for high-grade or rare varieties have shown consistent demand. If you're looking to sell, keep an eye on trends and consult with experts in the numismatic community. To wrap up, the 2001p Jefferson nickel is an interesting and valuable coin. This humble 5-cent coin could fetch as much as $38,600 in the right condition. But how? Why? And where can you find this hidden gem? Stick around as we dive deep into the history, rarity, and value of this incredible coin. Before we talk about the 2000 version, let's take a quick look at the Jefferson nickel's history. The Jefferson nickel was first issued in 1938, and it replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel. Its design features Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse, and Monticello, his famous Virginia estate, on the reverse. Over the years, the design has remained relatively the same, with a few minor changes and updates to reflect the evolution of U.S. coinage and commemorative themes. The 2000 Jefferson nickel, however, stands out in a significant way. The 2000 Jefferson nickel is unique because of the way it was minted and the subtle errors that were made during its production. For those of you who love hunting for rare coins, this is the kind of treasure you want to look out for. In 2000, the U.S. Mint was commemorating the bicentennial of Thomas Jefferson's death. They decided to release a new design of the coin. This coin had an updated version of Jefferson's portrait, created by artist Felix Schlag. While most of the 2000 Jefferson nickels are fairly common, some have errors that make them incredibly valuable. And these are the ones that can bring in thousands of dollars. Error coins are the key to unlocking the value of the 2000 Jefferson nickel. These are coins that were struck with mistakes during the minting process, such as misprints, wrong metal content, or misplaced images. One of the most valuable errors on the 2000 Jefferson nickel is known as the wide AM variety. This refers to a spacing mistake on the reverse, where the letters and M in America are spaced farther apart than on regular coins. If you happen to find a 2000 nickel with this error, you might just have a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. A 2000 wide AM Jefferson nickel in great condition can be worth as much as $38,600, depending on its grade. Now that you know about the error, how can you identify one of these valuable coins? First, flip your coin over and look at the reverse side. Pay close attention to the spacing between the letters and M in the word America. In a regular 2000 Jefferson nickel, the and M are closer together. But in the wide AM version, the gap is significantly wider. This is the telltale sign that you may have found a rare coin. Now, it's important to note that the condition of your coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A coin in lower grades, like good or fine, will have less value compared to one in higher grades like MS 65 or MS-67.to get your coin graded. You'll need to take it to a professional grading service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. They'll evaluate your coin based on its appearance, wear, and quality. The higher the grade, the higher the value. So, if you find one of these rare error coins, how can you sell it for top dollar? One of the best ways to sell your valuable coin is through an auction, either online or at a physical auction house that specializes in rare coins. Online platforms like eBay are also great for reaching a wide audience of collectors. Just make sure to take high-quality photos of your coin, highlight its unique features, and list it with a clear description. Auction houses, like heritage auctions, often attract serious collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for rare pieces. Remember, the more rare and in-demand the coin, the higher the price. While the 2000 wide AM is one of the most valuable Jefferson Nickels, it's not the only rare one. There are other Jefferson Nickels from various years that also have significant value, such as the 1939 D, the 1942 D over horizontal D, and the 1950-D.SO. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled for older, rarer versions of the Jefferson nickel. If you find one, you could be holding a coin that's worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. As you can see, the 2005 Jefferson nickel is more than just a simple coin. It's a treasure piece of currency. Thank you for watching today's video and interesting. Be sure to subscribe my YouTube channel Old Coin ZEE Collection.